the last book. This book has got how many verses? Sure? Not 19. Including the. Go to page number 140, 138. Okay. So we'll have 19 classes. So we'll not have 19 classes. Otherwise we'll never complete the course. 19 classes means what? 4.5 months. Hands up if you want to do 4.5 months. 4.5 months it will take. We take, and then one class will be recap for that one. So you understand. And then there will be 1 or 2 festivals. So it will take 6 months. So obviously we'll have to do fast. Are you ready for it? Yep. Because frankly I wanted to start the Bhakti Shastri with this book. This is a good one for starting, but we are doing it towards the end. So most of the things we have already discussed. So there's nothing you will find that suddenly we are realizing something new. Not many new things you will learn here. Okay, but it will be a good consolidation of whatever that we have learned. Isopanisad is a book which is more at a metaphysical level. That day we were discussing in lunchtime. Where is Karunavatar? So we were discussing in lunchtime Nirnayak Shastra, right? So this is often considered as a Nirnayak Shastra. Because Puranas are what? Essentially. When Vyasadeva, what did he do? First Vyasadeva compiled the Vedas. Then he divided the Vedas into 4 types of Vedas. Yeah, he compiled the 4 types of Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, and Atharva Veda. And then he wrote a commentary on the Vedas, which is called as Vedanta Sutra. Now, all these books are fairly technical in nature, metaphysical in nature. And then, for us to be able to understand what is written in these books, he wrote so then the Isopanisad, the Upanishads came, and then the Puranas came out of the Vedas. Specifically the Puranas are meant for our understanding. Puranas are real life stories, okay, not mythological. So Puranas help us understand the esoteric manner in which these things have been written. Is very difficult to understand for us, but for the Puranas. So if we read only the Isopanishads and not the Puranas, we will become too technical and philosophical. And then we will not understand the practical application. Okay? Whereas Puranas is full of practical application of Bhakti. Right? So what we have done is, we are doing reverse engineering here. We already have gone through Bhagavad Gita in one sense. We have gone through Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion. We have gone through a lot of practical stuff. So we are coming back to understanding the same subject matter in a metaphysical way, which is the Isopanishad. So you should find it pretty easy to then connect now to whatever Isopanishad is speaking. For a new person, if you open the Isopanishad, okay, and then he reads, then person may not understand too much. Especially if there are no purports, you will not understand anything. Right? But with Srila Prabhupada's purports and all the background, it should be pretty easy. So we can go very fast in for this particular book. So that then, Krishna willing, then we can start diving into the Srimad Bhagavatam, which I'm sure all of you are waiting for. Why Sachinanda Bhagavan Prabhu is not coming? What was he there?
No, our door is painted, so it has
The
to
door
be
is
kept
painted.
open. The front door is painted, so it has to be kept open.
This is the new one, I'll note it down. I've never heard this before. Thank you, Bhagavan. Wife is not well is the most common. Door is painted. It has to be kept open.
At least honest also.
Huh?
Very honest also.
very unique also. Because I was thinking what I should tell Keshav Prabhu for not attending the class. Now she has given me a amazing. Okay, I believe it.
We're going to listen online.
Alright, introduction. So let's read the introduction. Who wants to read Isopanisad? The introduction was Teachings of the Vedas delivered as a lecture by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada on October 6, 1969 at Conway Hall, London, England.
Ladies and gentlemen, today's subject matter is the teachings of the Vedas. What are the Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Veda can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda. So the teachings of the Vedas are the original knowledge. In the conditioned state, our knowledge is subjected to many deficiencies. The difference between a conditioned soul and a liberated soul is that the conditioned soul has 4 kinds of defects. The first defect is that he must commit mistakes. For example, in our country, Mahatma Gandhi was considered to be a very great personality, but he committed many mistakes. Even at the last stage of his life, his assistant warned, Mahatma Gandhi, don't go to the New Delhi meeting. I have some friends and I have heard there is danger, but he did not hear. He persisted in going and was killed. Even great personalities like Mahatma Gandhi, President Kennedy, there are so many of them make mistakes. The earth is human. This is one defect of the conditioned soul. Another defect, to be illusion. Illusion means to accept something which is not Maya. Maya means what is not. Everyone is accepting the body as the self. If I ask you what you are, you will say, I'm Mr. John, I'm a rich man, I'm this, I'm that. All these are bodily identifications. But you are not this body. This is illusion. The third defect is the cheating propensity. Everyone has the propensity to cheat others. Although a person is fool number 1, he poses himself as very intelligent. Although it is already pointed out that he is an illusion and makes mistakes, he will theorize. I think this is. But he does not even know his own position. He writes books of philosophy, although he is defective. That is his disease. That is cheating. Lastly, our senses are imperfect. We are very proud of our eyes. Often, someone will challenge, can you show me God? But do you have the eyes to see God? You will never see if you haven't the eyes. If immediately the room becomes dark, you cannot even see your hands. So what power do you have to see? We cannot, therefore, expect knowledge of Veda with these imperfect senses. With all these deficiencies in conditioned life, we cannot give perfect knowledge to anyone. Nor are we ourselves perfect. Therefore, we accept the Vedas as they are.
Okay. What are the points?
4 defects.
Prabhupada is explaining about Vedas, what they are and why we should accept them as the standard. So, explaining that, he was mentioning about 4 defects that he was studying.
Srila Prabhupada is laying the foundation about why one should trust the Vedic knowledge without really experimenting. So he's saying that because mainly we have defects, so he was introducing that we have to understand that what we have is not good enough, and so we have to seek higher knowledge. What we are understanding basically with our senses is not enough, so we have to accept a greater truth.
Maya will in this world interpret the Vedas and the Upanishads in their own, from their own perspective, which is actually not the correct thing. And here Prabhupada emphasized that it's not your perspective, it's more of the the person who is above the four defects, who writes or who gives the commentary, etc., needs to be, we have to follow their.
Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in the word Krishna Shastram Pramanam Hare-Acharya Vyavasthita. What to do, what not to do has to be based on the instructions given in the Sastri. So in Bhagavad Gita, this point is mentioned.
So Prabhupada is also giving the difference between the liberated souls and the conditioned souls. Conditioned souls have 4 defects. And he mentioned that people give their opinion, and these days, every day there's 50,000 books are printed out. So which Veda means knowledge, so it depends what we accept as knowledge. Whether we should be accepting these books which are written by whoever every day, or should we accept the Vedas as the knowledge?
So Prabhupada starts with defining Vedas, and he says that Vedas means knowledge. So Prabhupada starts with defining Vedas, and Vedas means knowledge. And then he says knowledge can be of 2 categories. One, from the liberated soul, as and one from the conditioned soul. But from the conditioned soul, because they are imperfect because of the 4 defects, that knowledge itself is imperfect. Therefore, we have to accept knowledge from the perfect soul, which is from the liberated souls, and that's original Vedas.
The source of Vedas are divine. It is not under the material reality. It is from the spiritual realm.
Okay, so Prabhupada is giving 4 examples here. What is the example Prabhupada is giving for making mistakes?
Mahatma Gandhi.
Correct, but why is Prabhupada quoting Mahatma Gandhi?
Great personality. Be it any great business, they are committed.
But the point is here that operating in the mode of goodness, sometimes we may think that that is the best thing to do, but no. We have to always be clear that whatever decisions we take, whatever activities that we do in our life, we are doing it under Shastric guidance. Otherwise, our intentions may be very noble of doing a particular activity, but then that activity will not give the highest results. So therefore, Prabhupada is essentially trying to say that Mahatma is a person who is beyond the 3 modes of material nature. As long as we are in the 3 modes, within the 3 modes of material nature, our actions, decisions are within the 3 modes of material nature, it will always be imperfect. That solution will never work, even if it is mode of goodness. Because mode of goodness, sometimes you will only patch the symptoms of the problem, but you will not go to the core of the problem. So Shastra means what? Shastric application of Shastras means you are going into the root of the problem. The root of the problem is what? So again, those are the symptoms of the problem. The root of the problem is avidya, ignorance. We have already seen that.
Yes.
The root of all our problems is that we think that we are the body, and we try to do all solutions to keep the gross body and the subtle body very happy, right? Whereas the soul can never be happy. Whatever solutions are given on the bodily platform will never keep anybody happy. The issues have to be addressed on the platform of the soul. So unless a spiritual solution is given to a material problem, that material problem will never go away. The only way material problems can go away is if we transcend the 3 modes of material. Sagunan samattityaitan brahma bhuyate. We have to transcend. So Mahatma Gandhi, though he was such a great person, still he made, to err is human, Prabhupada is writing that. Which means even in the mode of goodness one can make mistakes. So this is one defect of the conditioned soul. So if we anything we do under the 3 modes of material nature will be susceptible to mistake. Okay, so we have to understand that. Then Prabhupada is talking about to be illusion. What is the greatest illusion in this world? That we are the body. Today we were discussing about not to be in non-consciousness. Tamil nan means what? I. Okay. But obviously in the Vyasa Puja they had made nan. So everyone was non-conscious today. Okay. So I consciousness is the reason. Aham mameti. So I am the body, everything is meant for my enjoyment. This is the greatest illusion. So anything that we act on our bodily identity will always be a imperfect solution. Any solution which is given on the bodily platform will always be an imperfect solution. Or any person who is giving a solution, if he himself is in the bodily concept of life, he cannot give a perfect solution. He or she cannot give a perfect solution as long as we are in the bodily concept of life. So the illusion has to go. Third defect Prabhupada says is cheating propensity. Cheating propensity means that even when sometimes, who is the biggest cheater for us? Our mind. Okay. Our mind is the biggest cheater. Today, in the Vyas Puja, our Sudhir Govind Prabhu, beautiful video, excellent video it was, whatever he showed us. Mind-boggling videos. Where Gaurang Prabhu was speaking. It was amazing. And as a part of that, one of the instructions which Radhanath Swami Maharaj was giving is that we have to make our mind our friend. Because our mind is our greatest enemy. Our mind will tell us so many, it will completely take us on a tangent. Especially if our sadhana is not very good, then the mind can wreck our life. It can ruin our life completely. If our sadhana is not good. If our sadhana chanting is very good, then our mind will be under control. So Maharaj was, of course, he couldn't continue because it went on to some other clip. I was waiting for a more complete answer. It just suddenly got cut, that answer, and then it went to another theme. But essentially what you are saying is that we have to make our mind our friend. And we have to keep it in a particular position. We have to keep the mind at rest, especially when the mind is giving us wrong instructions. If we don't how to make the mind our friend? So he is saying by engaging in activities, in transcendental activities, in higher activities which have the power to control the mind. That is the power of mantra. Mantra means what? One that delivers the mind. So the mind cannot be in control if we are not attentively chanting. Most of our problems in life come because our chanting is Leela-dala. Leela-dala means what? Lackluster. There is no power in our chanting. In fact, I know of some Vaishnavas, especially, who's your friend? Sumit Prabhu. You all know Sumit Prabhu? If you come for Mangalarti, you will see him chanting. So that is the kind of chanting that, I am also aspiring someday that I will do. Absolutely, he is in a different world when he is chanting. His head is down and he is hearing every word. And he does it for 16 rounds continuously. He's trying to do this. You can't do that for 16 rounds. You can't pretend doing it for 1 hour, 45 minutes. You can do it for 5 minutes. And then see, who is looking at him. Like that. To impress somebody. But you can't do it for 1 hour, 45 minutes or 2 hours like that. And every day and day and out you cannot do that. You may do it one day, second day. So he's a very, very serious chanter. So that is the kind of chanting. If we do such kind of chanting, then we will get lot of manobal. People who like him and some others also, like our another serious chanter is our Nanda Dulal. Thank you. Okay, see, everyone is telling the same thing. People are all observing. So good chanting cannot go unnoticed. And such devotees cannot go unnoticed in the congregation. So if you see the way they do seva, they are sadachar, they are self-control, their control over their own senses, you will find that that's a result of the kind of investment that they do to correct the most basic thing, which is what? Chanting. So if we correct that, then everything else is corrected. If we don't correct that, then our whole life will fall apart. Okay, then we have to go back again. We are going like this in Bhakti, we will go back. Again, we will have to come back all the way. So, attentive chanting, one has to be very attentive. When chanting is very attentive, then the mind will become our friend. It will become subdued. When the mind becomes our friend, then whatever we speak also will be not within the 3 modes of material nature. Because then our mind will not be directing what we think and what we speak. So the solutions which we give to various problems, including our problems or others' problems, will be pure. It will not be coming from the mind's misdirections. So we all have to manage our mind throughout this life. It's very most important project we have. So otherwise the mind will cheat. We will do something and then we will also try to justify that, right? Because who is justifying that? Mind will only say, it will give us certificates. situation. समझना चाहिए ना अभी. You're okay. Gaurang Prabhu was telling me what even the criminals who are there, no, he was telling me, the people who are there in those Texas prison and what is the death row. Even those people, they say they cannot live with the guilt of rape and murder. Okay, so somehow their mind tells them that your circumstances were okay. I was abused as a child. They'll start talking all those things. No? But you know what? They would have done so many murders. Some of them are so gruesome. We can't even think that somebody can kill someone like that. Okay. So does it mean that if you are abused, then this is what you have a right to do all these things? But their mind tells them they have a right to do all these things. So they are very much at peace with themselves. Like that. This is how the mind can trick us to do the most sinful activities and still justify. That is the power of the mind to give us cheating propensities. So we have to be very, very careful. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what we tell others. Right? At the end of the day, it is about what we are. Because in the court of Krishna, what we are is going to give us our destination. Not what we have convinced others what we are. Right? Ultimately, at the time of death, we have to face the truth of what we are. Right? So we have to be very careful not to get into our mind tricking us. Like that. So lastly, our senses are imperfect. This is specifically very good point to say for people who come to a new, when we are starting a new preaching program, then people will come and typically the first question they ask is there God? I have not seen him. So Prabhupada is giving his examples. So God cannot be seen with these imperfect senses. With these imperfect senses, we cannot even hear frequencies which dogs can hear. Right? Yesterday only I was seeing some book where a butterfly is coming out of the cocoon. Which book was it?
Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's
Poster.
Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's poster. Yes. And I was thinking about it for so long. Everyone saw that?
Yeah.
This is, you can't conceive of this. How is it possible that inside a cocoon, which looks like waxy substance, inside that there is a butterfly which is having a design as if so much time goes in Jagannath, the painting also, the painting of eyes of Jagannath. So just imagine that butterfly is having such a beautiful design, both sides symmetrical. There is no bug over there. That egg dot either miss ho gaya and all that, right? It's such a beautiful thing. It's all packed inside that. So absolutely, there is something going on here which we cannot perceive. There is an intelligent design which we cannot perceive with our imperfect senses. So even when I was watching that, when the butterfly is coming out and little bit out, and then it is flying. How that butterfly entered that thing and how that whole design is there so that the butterflies get strength to come out of the cocoon. So it's struggling, that gives it strength to its wings. So what kind of an intelligent design is there? So there is, even with that small picture, we will understand that with our limited senses, we cannot even invent such a thing. We cannot, no scientist can invent something where, put something, again that has to come from somewhere. Right? Even if you put something inside and then a cocoon and automatically it will break, it will come out and fly and it will have all kinds of random colors. It's unimaginable. If we think like that, we will understand. With our senses, we cannot understand God. Even when we can see a butterfly phenomenon, we really cannot understand. So seeing God, for new people, we will have to give these kind of examples only. Can you not see an intelligent design behind order in this universe? How can it just be a random chance that a butterfly has got symmetrical design in both its wings? It's too much of a coincidence that there is no engineering involved here. So when we talk to new people, it is good to give these kind of examples. Okay? That with our senses we cannot understand. But with this Pratyaksha Praman, yes, it is later on Prabhupada condemns that as the way of understanding knowledge. But for new people, at least Pratyaksha Praman is what is within the sphere of their limited realization. So we have to connect to that and then what is the right word in English? Trigger their thought process that there is some intelligent design beyond that, and then take them gradually to the process of bhakti. So these are very powerful examples, these four things: making mistakes, illusion, cheating, propensities, and imperfect. For all of us who are taking to preaching, we must be very expert, in giving this philosophy to the new people, so they will understand. And for all of us also, in any way, this is very valid in our own personal appreciation. Okay, so we'll read further. Who wants to read now? Okay, some Prabhuji can read. Naveen Goram Prabhu. Joseph Padi. This purport is very long, so we'll probably cover only this today. But the verses don't have very long purport.
You may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. We are not Hindus. Our real identification is Varnashrama. Varnashrama denotes the followers of the Vedas, those who accept the human society in 8 divisions of Varna and Ashrama. There are 4 divisions of society and 4 divisions of spiritual life. This is called Varnashrama. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita. These divisions are everywhere because they are created by God. The divisions of society are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra. Brahmana refers to the very intelligent class of men, those who know what is Brahmana. Similarly, the Kshatriyas, the administrative group, are the next intelligent class of men. Then the Vaishyas, the merchant and group. These natural classifications are found everywhere. This is a Vedic principle and we accept it. Vedic principles are accepted as axiomatic truth. For there cannot be any mistake. That is acceptance. For instance, in India, cow dung is accepted as pure, and yet cow dung is the stool of an animal. In one place, you will find the Vedic injunction that if you touch stool, you have to take bath immediately. But in another place, it is said that stool of a cow is pure. If you smear cow dung in an impure place, that place becomes pure. With our ordinary senses, we can argue this is contradictory. Actually, it is contradictory from the ordinary point of view, but it is not false. It is fact. In Calcutta, every prominent scientist and doctor analyzed cow dung and found it contains all antiseptic properties. In India, if one person tells another, you must do this, the other party may say, what do you mean? Is this a Vedic injunction that I have to follow you without any argument? Vedic injunctions cannot be interpreted. But ultimately, if you carefully study why these injunctions are there, you will find that they are all correct. The Vedas are not complications of human knowledge. Vedic knowledge comes from the spiritual world, from Krishna. Another name for the Vedas is Shruti. Shruti refers to the knowledge which is acquired by hearing. It is not experimental knowledge. Shruti is considered to be like mother. We take so much knowledge from our mother. For example, if you want to know who your father is, you can answer. Who can answer you? Your mother. If the mother says, here is your father, you have to accept it. It is not possible to experiment to find out he is your father. Similarly, if you want to know something beyond your experience, beyond your experimental knowledge, beyond the activities of senses, then you have to accept the Vedas. There is no question of experimenting. It has already been experimented. It is already settled. The vision of the mother, the version of the mother, for instance, has to be accepted as truth. There is no other way. The Vedas are considered to be the mother, and Brahma is the grandfather, the forefather, because he was the first to be instructed in the Vedic knowledge. In the beginning, the first living creature was Brahma. He received this Vedic knowledge and imparted it to Narada and the other disciples and sons. And they also distributed it to their disciples. In this way, the Vedic knowledge comes down by disciplined succession. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that Vedic knowledge is understood in this way. If you make experimental endeavor, you come to the same conclusion. But just to save time, you should accept. If you want to know who your father is, and if you accept your mother as the authority, then whatever she says can be accepted without argument. There are 3 kinds of evidence: Pratyaksha, Anumana and Shabda. Anuman. Pratyaksha means direct evidence. The direct evidence is not very good because our senses are not perfect. We are seeing the sun daily and it appears to us just like a small disk, but it is actually far larger than many planets. Of what value is the sea. Therefore, we have to read books. Then we can understand about the sun. So direct experience is not perfect. Then there is Anuman, inductive knowledge. It may be like this, hypothesis. For instance, Darwin's theory says, it may be like this, it may be like that. But that is not science. That is just a suggestion. And it is also not perfect. But if you receive the knowledge from the authoritative sources, that is perfect. If you receive program guide from the radio station authorities, you accept it. You don't deny it. You don't have to make any experiment because it is received from the authoritative sources. Vedic knowledge is called Shabda Raman. Other name is Shruti. Shruti means this is knowledge. Shruti means that this knowledge has to be received simply by oral reception. The Vedas instruct that in order to understand transcendental knowledge, we have to hear from the authority. Transcendental knowledge is knowledge from beyond this universe. Within this universe is material knowledge, and beyond this universe is transcendental knowledge. We cannot go to the end of the universe, so how can we go to the spiritual world? Thus, to acquire full knowledge is impossible. There is a spiritual sky. There is another nature, which is beyond manifestation and non-manifestation. But how will you know that there is a sky where the planets and inhabitants are external? Eternal, sorry. All this knowledge is there, but how do you make experiments? It is not possible. Therefore, you have to take assistance of Vedas. This is called Vedic knowledge. In our Krishna Consciousness movement, we are accepting knowledge from the highest authority, Krishna. Krishna is accepted as highest authority by all class of men. I am speaking first to the two classes of transcendentalists. One of the transcendentalists is called impersonalists, Mayamati. They are generally known as Vedantists, led by Sastri. And there is another class of transcendentalists called Vaishnavas, like Ramanacharya, Madhavacharya, Vishnu, Swami. Both Shankara Sampradaya and the Vaishnava Sampradaya have accepted Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Founder-Acharya is supposed to be the impersonalist who preach impersonalism, impersonal Brahman. But it is a fact that he is covered personalist. In his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, he wrote, Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond this comic manifestation.
Cosmic.
You
are right in another sense. And then again he confirmed that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan is Krishna. He has come as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. He particularly He particularly mentioned his father and mother. So Krishna is accepted as Supreme Personality of Godhead by all transcendentalists. There is no doubt about it. A source of knowledge is Krishna Consciousness is Bhagavad Gita, which comes directly from Krishna. We have published the Bhagavad Gita as it is because we accept Krishna as he is speaking without any interpretation. That is Vedic knowledge. Since the Vedic knowledge is pure, we accept it. Whatever Krishna says, we accept. This is Krishna Consciousness. That saves much time. If you accept the right authority or source of knowledge, then you have saved much time. For example, there are two systems of knowledge in the material world, inductive and deductive. From deductive, you accept man is mortal. Your father says man is mortal. Your sister says man is mortal. Everyone says man is mortal. But you do not experiment. You accept it as a fact that man is immortal. If you want to research to find out whether man is mortal, you have to study each and every man. And you may think that there may be some man who is not dying, but you have not seen him yet. So in this way, your research will never be finished. In Sanskrit, this process is called Aroha, the ascending process. If you want to attain knowledge by any personal endeavor, by exercising your imperfect senses, you will never come to the right conclusion. That is not possible. There is a statement in Brahma Samhita, just ride on the airplane which runs at the speed of miles. Our material airplanes can run 2000 miles per hour, but what is the speed of mind? You are sitting at home, you immediately think of India, say 10,000 miles away.
And at once it is in your mind has gone there. The mind speed is so swift. Therefore it is stated, if you travel at this speed for millions of years, you find that the spiritual sky is unlimited. It is not possible even to approach it. Therefore the Vedic injunction is that one must approach the word compulsory. One must approach. The word compulsory is used, a bona fide spiritual master, a guru. And what is the qualification of the spiritual master? He is one who has rightly heard the Vedic message from the right source. And he must practically be firmly established in Brahman. These are the two qualities he must have. Otherwise he is not bona fide.
What is the point, sir?
Prabhupada starts off with writing different Puranas and how we see that some of the statements that are made, for us they seem contradictory because we see that in isolation. For example, touching a stool is considered as, I don't know, but at the same time when you read the other statement, cow stool is considered as very pure. So they seem contradictory because we're looking at these two statements in isolation, but if you take an overview, broader view, and understand why it is written that way, then there is no contradiction. But to understand that as well, we need to approach a bona fide spiritual master as well, and need to know which Vedas to refer. For example, some Puranas they might say that Lord Shiva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some of the Puranas might say some other demigod is the Supreme Personality. So we need to understand why these Puranas are written, what was the purpose behind it.
In essence, he has established the authority of Shastras. There's a lot of content in here. In one word, he's establishing why Shastras are the right source, and he's kind of giving many examples of why they are not, why things are defective, why. So it's given for the audience purposes. It's given many examples to establish the authority of Shastra.
The flow is, he has anyway established the 4 defects. He has established the 4 defects before, and then he is continuing saying the 3 different Brahmans, which is Pratyaksha Brahman, Anuman and Anumana Brahman and Shabda Brahman. So he is defeating the first 2 and establishing that Shabda Brahman is the best way of accepting things. And thus he continues saying that it has to be accepted as it comes, and he also gives various examples of the spiritual sky and something which is beyond which we cannot perceive. And that's how he again correlates with the transcendental.
In the essence, basically all the Vedic knowledge needs to be received from the right source. So it was said, the Vedic knowledge was given to Brahma, and Brahma imparted it to Narada and others. So following those disciplined succession only, if you take that Vedic knowledge, then you will be on the right path. Otherwise, if you take others' interpretations and so forth, not taking, so Prabhupada mentioned like Bhagavad Gita as it is. So it's very important to take the Vedic knowledge from the disciplic succession through the bona fide spiritual master. So I think otherwise, there's so many deviations. So I think this is a key point that Prabhupada is emphasizing here, that it has to be taken through the right source, which is the Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman. The Shruti is so Shruti again is coming from the first Shruti was Lord Krishna gave it to Brahma, the first living entity. Then it gone from the disciplic succession to Narada and his sons, throughout. So it has to be that knowledge only, not any other knowledge.
And also he said that this knowledge can be obtained in 2 ways. One is the Arohan, and when you try to induce it, try to experiment in personal endeavor, but that's never going to end. then we never reach the end. And one is the deductive process, which is our way, which is a top-down approach. That is a process which has to be accepted to understand the
Prabhupada says those who follow this knowledge are in Varnashrama Dharma, because the Brahmana is the one who disseminates this knowledge to the other varnas.
So this is a very powerful section. As a preacher, we must be expert in how to administer this to new people. To new people, we may not be directly talking Bhagavatam, but this is a part where we have to be expert, because new people always come with strong identity that, especially we are doing more of Indian preaching, that's why I am saying. People come with a strong identity that we are Hindus. Like that day I was speaking to one Mataji. So she was a sister of some devotee who has come down here. So this Mataji is going through a lot of physical challenge in her life. She is losing her eyesight. It's like that. So she has already lost quite a bit of eyesight in one eye. She's got a small daughter. So she had come and she was just talking to us. And obviously her sister, the elder sister, is a devotee in our congregation. So a very nice lady. She's saying that, Prabhuji, sometimes I don't know what to do because my vision is going. I don't know whether I'll be able to, how long I'll be able to see my daughter, and I cry sometimes. I don't know. And she doesn't live in Melbourne, so I was encouraging her to see if her husband works with the airline or something like that, to see if the same thing is that come to Melbourne, because here there is a huge congregation. Sydney also is very good, no doubt about it, but we don't know much about, it's a huge congregation, but we don't know much about Sydney congregation as of now. So I couldn't advise her anything or suggest anything to her, saying that go to this person or that person. Though I know few names which I have suggested. These are all people who are very stalwart preachers based in Sydney. But she was wanting to be with her sister also at this time. Sometimes you feel like apno ke saath raho, especially if you are not a practicing devotee, which she was not. So she was immediately, when I was saying this, she went in a different direction, and I said that here we do regular satsang and we do programs and all that. She's saying there also we are doing. On Friday all the Hindu community comes together and we do lot of bhajans. So that strong thing is there, which is very good. Obviously, I told her this is very nice. Obviously, still they are doing something nice. Instead of going for Friday night drinks in a pub, it's very nice to come together for this purpose. So it's glorious. But then, what is going to be your spiritual progress if you just sing, different bhajans from different thing? It's complete khichdi it becomes. Huh?
They have some format, Pilya, Murugar.
Because what happened was, I have attended these programs. I have myself attended and I used to love these programs. And I was a new devotee. I also used to go. I remember I remember having attended. I am not going to disclose the location or not, but I have attended this kind of program. It's amazing, People come and they will all fight for the mic after some time. मेरे बीवी को खाने नहीं दिया. Like that. So after some time, this bhajan becomes bickering program. There is no transformation of consciousness, and anything is sung under the sun. Initially, they will start with something. It has to start. Somebody will be the real typical. He's the knowledgeable. Vasarat Langdi ka shahani we say in Marathi. In Andon ka Raja, Kana, squint amongst the blind. So he will be the leader of the group. So he'll start Vakratunda Maha. He'll start with that, and everyone start opening batsman. Virendra Sehwag, like that. Dashing opening will be there to that. And then फिर बाद में साफ चालू हो जाएगा. Then somebody will come and sing. Then will be somebody from a Tamil Nadu representation will be there. Like this. That will start. That will start. Then that fellow will come. Who will say Saina tere hazaron haath. जिसने तेरा नाम लिया तू हो गया उनके साथ. Complete, and then there will be no philosophy. After that, अच्छा भी क्या करने का? खाने का भी. Like that. And then they'll again common. Then immediately after that program, what will start? What conversation? The score क्या हुआ? Where are you working, by the way? Oh yeah, Capgemini. Oh cool, yeah, I'm with Infosys. Yeah. वो चालू. No, ये सब चालू हो जाएगा उधर. Visiting cards will be exchanged and और other things, वो माता जी के बारे में they will start talking और वो प्रभु जी के बारे में somebody will be talking. So there is no guidance. But strongly, what is your only binding together for coming together? That comes of Hindu. That's all. But that binding will break away. So any binding is only as strong as Krishna is in the center of the bond. If Krishna is not in the center of the bond, then what will happen? That bond will not last. Correct? It will be like Fevicol bond. जोर से चिपका है लेकिन it is not permanent anyway. So we have to be careful. So Prabhupada has given us a very nice program. So it's not so the program which we do are also we also do bhajans, but it is not a khichdi program like that. There is a very clear objective. So I was telling this Mataji, saying that look, your bhajan you are doing is very nice, okay, but do you know why you are doing all this bhajan? Do you know the meaning of some of these bhajans? Right? So one, she was honest. Meaning थोड़ा नहीं समझ में आएगा किसी को. Especially at least if at all we will know the meaning of what bhajan we are singing. We will never know the meaning of some other bhajan what they are singing. Right? That is one. And then such bhajans will not lead to any transformation because nobody is giving a discourse there. Nobody is trying to give knowledge. Nobody is trying to facilitate practical application of that knowledge for day-to-day problems in our life. So there is no such structure over there. So then she acknowledged, हाँ ये सब तो नहीं है. So obviously then I was trying to put a case for her coming to either Melbourne or stopping this Khichdi program and then going to a bona fide program. I'm sure Sydney has got wonderful programs. Okay, so she can join so many programs in Sydney. There are so many stalwart devotees who are doing excellent preaching work. So I encourage her that if you can come to Melbourne, then we can directly serve you. But otherwise we will have to put suggest you go to a proper program. Of course, see, because this is the first time that I was meeting, I couldn't do too much then. But we have to follow up. So people come with from different faiths. But at least one good part is that these people are easy because they have faith in God. Even if it is a sentiment, they have some sentiments for God. So it's a little bit easy. The only people who are very difficult or impossible to preach, with whom we should not waste time, are people who do not have any faith in the concept of scriptures. They may not have a faith in the scripture, but they don't have a faith in the concept of a scripture. I don't think there is anything called a scripture. If someone talks that, you can't do anything to that person because all the source of information is coming from the scriptures. If that foundation itself is rejected, then you know that you can't do anything to that person. Then what only will work is prasadam. That's all. Prasadam will work. That's all. Again, if you tell them it is prasadam, they will not accept it. Where is the concept of prasadam coming from? Scripture. Okay. But you just say, come and eat. That's all. Good lunch, good food. Take. And then let prasadam only work on that person. So the essence of identifying a potential candidate for our Bhakti Vriksha is that the person at least will not reject the principle of a scripture. So whenever you are taking up any preaching program, when people are coming to your program, the first thing you have to assess is that in principle of scriptures mein faith hai ya nahi. If they don't accept in principle the concept of a scripture, then understand that don't waste too much time with such people. And you can't ask them, do you trust the principle of a scripture? It can't be done so blatantly. It has to be done in a subtle manner. Through some other conversations, you have to extract that information. Kitne pani mein hai? So then you will get an assessment as to how to approach with this person. So we have to have a strategy for different people, especially if you are doing a new program and all are strangers. You have not even seen them in the temple. It's just a random cold call, people have come. So Prabhupada is saying that scriptures are the source of all information for us on how to lead our lives. Then Prabhupada is talking about the fact that all scriptures ultimately will lead to the same conclusion, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, read further. Mataji wants to read. Hoga?
Krishna Consciousness program is complete
आज पूजा का प्रसाद है थोड़ा तगड़ा आना चाहिए हाँ भाई
This Krishna Consciousness movement is completely authorized from Vedic principles. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the actual aim of Vedic research is to find out Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita, it is also stated Krishna Govinda has innumerable forms, but they are all one. They are not like our forms which are fallible. His form is infallible. My form has the beginning, but his form has no beginning. It is the Anta and he is Ananta, and his form so many multi forms has no end. My form is sitting here and not in any apartment. You are sitting there and not in your apartment. But Krishna can be everywhere at one time. He can sit down in Golok Vrindavan and at the same time he is everywhere, all pervading. He is original, the oldest, but whenever you look at the picture of Krishna, you will find a young boy 15 or 20-year-old. You will never find an old man. You have seen picture of Krishna as a charioteer from the Bhagavad Gita. At the time, he was not less than 100-year-old. He had great grandchildren, but he looked just like a boy. Krishna, God never becomes old. That is his supreme power. And if you want to search out Krishna by studying the Vedic literature, then you will be baffled. It may be possible, but it is very difficult. But you can very easily learn about him from his devotees. His devotees can deliver him to you. Here he is, take him. That is the potency of Krishna's devotees.
What is the point?
The aim of the whole Vedic knowledge of the Vedas is actually to reach Krishna, to develop love for Krishna.
So Krishna is ageless. There are two aspects coming out here. One is the omnipresence of the Lord. So even other philosophies also talk about the omnipresence of the Lord. So Prabhupada is also talking about the omnipresence of the Lord. Krishna is present everywhere. He is present in the spiritual world and he is present in the material world. He is present in each and every atomic particle. So even now scientists are talking about the electrons roaming around, rotating on the orbit around the nucleus. But they do not know where that, what is the force called? Centripetal force, is it? Which keeps them? Centrifugal or centrifugal? Centrifugal force. Whatever. Centrifugal. Let's ask the scientist here. Centrifugal force. Attracts towards, yeah, okay, so whatever. So where does the centrifugal force come from? That scientists are not able to answer. So in one conversation, Keshav Prabhu was also talking about this, a few years back in the Bhagavatam class, that is the force coming from Shankarshan. Where does gravity come from? We can see gravity, we can see the impact of gravity, but can you catch gravity anywhere? We don't know. What is it that pulls? Where is that thing? You can't see anything. Something is pulling every object towards the earth. Similarly, every planet has its own gravitational field. So we can't see. So that power is because that is where is the power of Sankarshan. So Lord is everywhere. Wherever you go in the cosmos, you will find Lord in different form. In the form of his original form in Golok Vrindavan and in his multifarious forms in this material universe, in the whole cosmos. So Prabhupada is talking about that. And also he is mentioning that God is not someone who has become very old. Though Lord can also become old in one sense, for the purpose of a pastime. For which purpose pastime has the Lord become very old? Lord is looking as an old man. Which pastime is that? No answer. Advaita Acharya. Right? The Lord can become old if he wants. Advaita came, you always see with the so he's a incarnation of Sadashiva and Mahavishnu. So he can, if he wants, he can come like that also. But he doesn't age. But he can come as a, if he wants, he can age. If he wants, he can do anything. Okay, but he will age by choice, not like us. By time and by by corporate life. Nowadays we don't age by time, we simply age by corporate life. Like that. So Lord doesn't age. So that is where Prabhupada is saying Krishna is not an ordinary person. And Prabhupada is saying that the Supreme Lord, the fact that that God, that Supreme God is Krishna, is given in the Brahma Samhita. So Prabhupada is introducing that point also. Who wants to read now? Fast reading. Ramu.
Originally there was only one Veda and there was no necessity of reading it. People were so intelligent and had sharp memories that by once hearing from the lips of the spiritual master they would understand. They would immediately grasp the whole purport. But 5,000 years ago, Vyasadeva put the Vedas in writing for the people in this age, Kali Yuga. He knew that eventually the people would be short-lived, their memories would be very poor, and their intelligence would not be very sharp. Therefore, let me teach this Vedic knowledge in writing. He divided the Vedas into 4, Rig, Sama, Atharva and Yajur. Then he gave the charge of these Vedas to his different disciples. He then thought of the less intelligent class of men, Sastri, Shudra and Dvijabandhu. He considered the woman class and Shudra class, worker class and Dvijabandhu. Dvijabandhu refers to those who are born in a high family but who are not properly qualified. A man who is born in a family of a Brahmana but is not qualified as a Brahmana is called Dvijabandhu. For these persons, he compiled the Mahabharata called the History of India and the 18 Puranas. These are all part of the Vedic literature. The Puranas, the Mahabharata, the 4 Vedas and the Upanishads. The Upanishads are part of the Vedas. Then Vyasadeva summarized all Vedic knowledge for scholars and philosophers in what is called the Vedanta Sutra. This is the last word of the Vedas. Vyasadeva personally wrote the Vedanta Sutra under the instructions of Narada, his Guru Maharaj, spiritual master. But still, he was not satisfied. That is a long story described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Vedavyasa was not very satisfied even after compiling many Puranas and Upanishads and even after writing the Vedanta Sutra. Then the spiritual master Narada instructed him, you explain the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means ultimate knowledge. The ultimate knowledge is Krishna. Krishna says that throughout all the Vedas one has to understand him. Vedaischa sarve ragameva vedyo. Krishna also says that Vedanta krit vedavideva chaham. I am the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra and I am the knower of the Vedas. Therefore the ultimate objective is Krishna. That is explained in all the Vaishnava commentaries on the Vedanta philosophy. We Gaudiya Vaishnavas have a commentary on Vedanta philosophy called Govinda Bhasha by Baladev Vidyabhushan. Similarly, Ramanujacharya has a commentary and Madhvacharya has one. The version of Sankaracharya is not the only commentary. There are many Vedanta commentaries, but because the Vaishnavas did not present the first Vedanta commentary, people are under the wrong impression that Sankaracharya is the only Vedanta commentary. Besides that, Vyasadeva himself wrote the perfect Vedanta commentary, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the first words of Vedanta Sutra, Janmadhyasya Yataha. The Janmadhyasya Yataha is fully explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vedanta Sutra simply hints at what is Brahman, the absolute truth. The absolute truth is that from whom everything emanates. This is a summary, but it is explained in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. If everything is emanating from the absolute truth, and what is the nature of the absolute truth, that is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The absolute truth must be consciousness. He is self-effulgent, Swarat. We develop our consciousness and knowledge by receiving the knowledge from others. But for him, it is said that he is self-effulgent. The whole summary of Vedic knowledge is the Vedanta Sutra. And the Vedanta Sutra is explained by the writer himself in Srimad Bhagavatam. He finally requests those who are actually after Vedic knowledge to try to understand the explanation of all Vedic knowledge from Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita.
What are the points here? Is it stuffy in this room?
Yes.
And we can open them. इसको भी खोलो, पीछे चाहिए. What are the points? Based on the meditation on this verse, what is the point? He's saying Pav, bichara pakda. Okay, I'll just do it. Yeah, anyway, what are the points?
Prabhupada is explaining how the Vedas is divided into subcategories like Upanishads and all these things. That's how they like 45 people involved. And he was explaining how it is not only meant for the people who do the people, but also people who are considered to be like unqualified, like you mentioned Sri. Women and VedaBase and things like that.
I was taken away by this term VedaBase. So he is saying that the Puranas have been written primarily for Vishnu's women and VedaBase. So this is emphasizing the Kali Yuga way, like no one we cannot see a typical actual qualified Brahmana, except very few in our society or somewhere else. So therefore, predominantly these Puranas have been written for the purpose of the less intelligent people in this Kali. So that's why he is emphasizing the Srimad Bhagavatam, and therefore he is connecting with the Vedic knowledge and now requesting others to start reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam anyway starts with the Vedanta Sutra things and thus explaining everything clearly in terms of where we are and how we should go. So we are all Vijayabandhu.
So the original Vaishnava commentary is Srimad Bhagavatam, done by Srila Vyasadeva, and then we got our own Vaishnava commentary, which is the Govinda Bhagavatam.
Written by
Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada.
So Prabhupada is saying, people think like only Shankaracharya has written, the Vaishnava commentary, but that is not true. The original one is actually within the Srimad Bhagavatam, original one from Srila Vyasadeva.
Here it is said the Upanishads, and I just have a question. The Upanishads are part of the Vedas. So, as far as I know, the Sri Upanishad is a part of the Yajurveda. I read somewhere. So, is there a specific?
It's coming later.
Oh, it's coming later. Yeah. What is the specific reason why we need only Sri Upanishad?
मालूम है हाथ उठाया तो मालूम है. It's not like fool, you know.
Govinda Master also Vedanta Sutra and Srimad Bhagavatam also Vedanta Sutra.
Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra.
Commentary on Vedanta Sutra.
It is a conclusion of the Vedanta Sutra.
So now Vedas and then Vedanta means the crux of Vedas. Right? And what is Vedanta Sutra?
Sutra, it's a commentary on the Vedas.
Commentary on Vedanta.
On the conclusion of the Vedas, it's a commentary. And then Srimad Bhagavatam is on top of that.
So Srimad Bhagavatam is a commentary on Vedanta.
Vedanta Sutra.
Commentary.
Vedanta Sutra, see, Vedas are huge. So therefore, it's a compilation of the Vedas, Vedanta Sutra. But there is a difference between simply, you know what is Presi writing?
Yeah.
Yeah? In India we studied Prasya writing. And Prasya writing means what? It's a zipping the whole thing. If there are 1,000 words, then Prasya writing means you give that in, let's say 500 words, 50% zipped folder, like Prasya writing. So Vedanta Sutra is like that. It has been zipped, the whole Vedas. But Srimad Bhagavatam is different. Srimad Bhagavatam is giving out the essence of the Vedanta Sutra. There is a difference between just summarizing something and bringing out the essence of something. Does it make sense? You can take 2-3 mangoes, it will occupy a volume of so many centimeter cube or whatever, right? But then you can put something and then put it in that shrink wrap or whatever. Then it becomes like this. But then you can take the essence out of that mango. The juice. And then throw the, what is that?
Skin and
the andar ka seed. And that is Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. The juice. Juice of the Vedas. People otherwise forget the juice. And only lick the mango from the outside. It will not give any taste. Right? So Srimad Bhagavatam is that which brings that out.
So if you want to understand the hierarchy, first is Vedas, 4 Vedas. Then so Veda is Vedanta book. No, Vedanta Sutra is a book, right?
Vedas also is a book.
No, Veda is a book. After if I have to put a hierarchy, then Vedas पहला आएगा, फिर Vedanta Sutra आएगा, बराबर? तो Vedanta Sutra में हर एक ने अपना commentary लिखा, like Ramanujacharya, Shankaracharya, Bhaktivedanta VedaBase. So that is Vedanta Sutra. It's a book, right?
It's a commentary, isn't it, Prabhu? Like he is saying Vedanta Sutra is a commentary, but that's not the correct understanding. We are saying that Srimad
Commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta Sutra Vyasdeva wrote. Lord Shankaracharya gave a commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. What is that called? Go with Sarira Kabha. And then, because at that time the Smartha Brahmanas were looking down upon Vaishnavas, and then he saw Bhaktivedanta VedaBase took it upon himself that to write a commentary on that, and he defeated them.
Commentary on Vedanta Sutra, which is again written by Vyasa.
Because what they start, their main, some noise, the genesis of their argument, the premise of their argument was that a sampradaya can be only bona fide as long as that sampradaya has got commentary on the Sutra. That's why Bhaktivedanta VedaBase said that, okay, if that is the case, then I am going to write that, and then he defeated it.
So that means Vedanta Sutra is also must be a book, na? Something. Right? Okay. So Vedas, then Vedanta Sutra, then commentary on Vedanta Sutra, and then Srimad Bhagavatam is the essence of
that. So what happened was when Vyasadeva compiled all the Vedanta Sutra and everything, he was still despondent. Right? So Narad Muni as a spiritual master came to him and then asked him what is the reason for his despondency. So he himself did not understand. Right? Despite having all the mangoes in the house, there is no taste. So what Narad Muni simply did as a guru, he said, okay, now open the mango and I will make mango juice. What is that called as in Gujarati? Amras. Amras lelo. So he taught him that. Okay. So that is when those verses come. Nayad vachas chitra padam hare yaso jagat pavitram vajrani karhichit tad vayasam tirtam ushanti manasa nayatra hamsa niramanti ushikshaya. And then what happens when Prabhupada writes, then tad bhakasargo janataga viplavo yasmin sloki prati shlokam abaddhavati api namani anantascha yaso nitani yat shrinvanti gayanti vinanti sadhava. Which means what? So he says that those words which do not glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Narad Muni is telling, since those words which do not glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are like, though they may be grammatically beautiful, grammatically correct, punctuation in the right place, sentence construction, flow, all those things for persuasive writing, analytic, everything is in place. But it has failed to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So such a place is what? Vayasam Tirtha, which is what? A place of pilgrimage for the crows. Kavla. Kavla means what? Oh, yeah. Such a place only the crows come and... So, which means what? The ornamented, flowery language of the Vedas is of no use if it fails to glorify the Supreme Lord. Right? And then in the next line he says, whereas. That is that next verse, Tattva Visargo, right? So those words which glorify the Lord, such a book, even if imperfectly composed, it has got grammatical mistakes, spelling mistakes, everything. Still that literature is very glorious, even with all those mistakes, because the intent of that book is to glorify, and it actually ends up glorifying the Lord. And that is Shrinvanti, Gayanti, Grinanti Sadhava. That is completely accepted by all transcendentalists. Such Shrinvanti means they hear Gayanti, Grinanti, they accept it, they sing it, all sadhavas, all the saintly personalities accept that. In fact, Prabhupada writes this in one of the introduction to one of his books. Which book was that? I was reading this book. Some book Prabhupada writes that if I have any qualification to write this book, and then Prabhupada writes this, recently only I read it somewhere. Some book that I was reading. Which book is that? 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Sorry. I have just started opening the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam because from tomorrow it is starting for us. Keshav Prabhu on Monday. So I was reading the foreword or introduction to the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada says, if at all I have any qualification, because he says Krishna's pastimes are transcendental. It's very difficult to write about the 10th canto. Okay, but Prabhupada says this book, please, you may find maybe some other mistakes also in this book, but if at all this book I can say is perfect. My effort is that I have tried to glorify the Lord. That literature which glorifies the Lord, even if it is other imperfections are there, it has to be accepted. And I was having this conversation with your father, first time that I met him. The Deer Park picnic many years back. So, because your father is edited Srila Prabhupada's books, no? So then I was having this verse discussion only with him at that time, Deer Park picnic, many years back. That editing Srila Prabhupada's books, there may be many grammatical, spelling mistakes, etc., etc. But all those have to be overseen, because the intent of the author is to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is the power. That is why Vyasadeva, then based on this instruction of Narad Muni as a guru, then Vyasadeva then started. He understood his mistake. What he did not, why, it's not his mistake in one sense, it was a past time. He understood why he himself was despondent. And then when he compiled Srimad Bhagavatam, then he was very happy. So that is the essence. Isopanisad ki Jai.